All right, welcome back. Election night, primary night. We're watching the results. We have Decision Desk HQ carefully monitoring the situation in these races. If we have any updates, we'll make sure to bring them to you. But right now, the eyes of the nation are on Los Angeles tonight. We're waiting for the results of the LA mayoral primary coming in, and the polls are now closed. There is a lot of anticipation about which two candidates are going to advance to November's general election, and the only way that someone could outright win tonight is if they get more than 50% of the vote. I was just talking about it with Mark Garagos. But the mayoral race has been this dead heat, which makes it so interesting. And the contest for the second largest city in the country has become a national story as incumbent Mayor Karen Bass, a former congresswoman, faces two leading challengers, former reality TV villain Spencer Pratt and city councilwoman Nitha Raman. And of course, with Pratt being a reality star and LA being one of the nation's entertainment capitals, you know we've been hearing the political opinions of a lot of celebrities on both sides. So let's take a look at that, okay? On the list of celebs supporting Pratt's run, you got Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla, Paris Hilton, Dennis Quaid, Billy Bush, Catherine McPhee, David Foster. Pratt's also getting a lot of support from his former castmates from the Hills, including Kristen Cavallari, Brody Jenner, Audrina Patridge, and this was an interesting one. While Spencer's own sister and fellow Hills star Stephanie Pratt didn't quite back him at first, she recently changed her tune. Now, not all LA-based celebrities want Spencer Pratt to be their next mayor. That list includes Vivica Fox, Drew Carey, Chelsea Handler, Lisa Rinna, not surprisingly, Jimmy Kimmel. But how much influence do celebrities and influencers really have on voters today once they get to the polls? Joining me now, two podcasters who live and vote in LA, Donna Bowling, host of Daily Dose of Donna, and Zack Peter, host of No Filter with Zack Peter. Love to have you both on. I feel like I'm having you on all different subjects, and I love it. Donna, I'm going to start with you. First, the celebrity aspect. You know, Spencer Pratt being a celebrity in LA, how important is that? How important is that name recognition to voters in there?
I think in a way you would think it would be a great thing, but in Spencer's case, I actually think it hurts him. And the reason why is because of the way that you just announced him. Reality TV villain Spencer Pratt. And Spencer, I've really followed him over the last few years, but definitely since the fires. He has so much more going for him than what happened 20-some years ago on the reality show. But in this case, it actually hurts him. The reason he has so much support is because so many people have fallen in love with Spencer Pratt and who he is now, not for who they thought he was before. That's
an interesting point. That's an interesting point. Like authenticity, right? Zack, the endorsements, the non-endorsements. Do celebrities really have a sway on voters? And I actually kind of wonder, do influencers, online influencers, have more of a sway today?
I mean, I think if celebrities had any sort of power in influencing elections, Kamala would have won. We would have had Hillary as president. There are so many. We've seen this decline. People are tired of celebrities lecturing to us from their ivory towers. I mean, I was getting into a few spars on Twitter the other night with some well-known celebrities and reality stars that were upset that I was endorsing Spencer Pratt, and it goes to show you that I think people are tired of listening to somebody sit up in their ivory tower that don't understand the issues that most Americans, and in this case Angelinos, are facing. These are moms that want their children to go to school and not have to step over needles or deal with drug addicts roaming the streets. I want to be able to take my dogs outside for a walk in downtown LA and not have to dodge broken liquor bottles everywhere. So these are the issues that matter to real people. I am a real person. Donna's a real person. So maybe, yes, that influencer content creator category is a little more relatable than Chelsea Handler as she tries to, virtue signal and tell us what we should be doing as she sits on her pile of money.
And Zack, let me just follow up on that. I don't know if you heard my conversation with Bill de Blasio earlier on. I mean, he doesn't believe Pratt's going to win. He doesn't think he's a serious candidate in that regard. Why are people voting for Pratt or supporting Pratt over Raman? Like, you can understand, for example, the issues that Karen Bass has, particularly with the Palisades fire. But talk to me about why perhaps Raman is not the choice.
I mean, she's a bag of stale ramen noodles. Nobody wants to hear, the old politicians anymore, And I think that the reason she doesn't resonate with voters is because nobody knows who she is. Nobody knows what she stands for. And when you do see what she stands for, I mean, just seeing the clip the other day of her gawking at moms that were talking about trying to get homeless encampments away from schools. And she says, your kids are not going to be any safer if the tents are 500 feet away from the school. But yet, when protesters come up and start putting tents in front of her home, she then complains about the safety of her children. It's the double standard. People don't know who she is, and what they are seeing of what she's giving us is a whole lot of hoopla that nobody's buying anymore. We're tired of the stale old politics games, and someone like Spencer Pratt, who's a dad of 2 young boys who lost his home to Mayor Bass, that resonates with people because he's speaking to the heart of those Angelenos. This is a city that he was born and raised in. It's a city that I was born and raised in, and that's why he speaks to people like me.
It seems to me that issue, Donna, of him losing his home, and it doesn't matter, whether it's the trailer, the hotel, him losing his home and his life being affected. I mean, that's the level of relatability that not all politicians. What are you seeing in the industry? Are people supporting Spencer Pratt? Maybe not openly, maybe vocally. What are you seeing, Donna? How do you see it?
I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, when you mention Nithya Raman, I live in Nithya Raman's district. I'm a born and raised Los Angeles person, also 45 years old this year. I have never seen Los Angeles in the state that it's in. The home that we live in was our dream home, dream neighborhood, and literally homeless people on the corner of our blocks every single day in Nithya Raman's district. So that's what I think about Nithya. But back to the celebrities, I think celebrities and influencers and all of them, it's so interesting. It's very, very hush hush. Online, there's a certain kind of perception. We can't say that we like Spencer. They will think I'm MAGA. They will think that I am a super conservative. They will think that I am anti-immigrants, like these crazy, really out there thoughts. So a lot of people say it after a glass of wine over, at a bar. Oh my God, we need to get Spencer in there. And then they're scared to put it online.
Hey, I think there was an ad about that. I remember the 3 guys at the barbecue were like, I'm not saying I'm MAGA, but Spencer Pratt really does have good ideas. I will tell you this much, I'll stand by it. I think whether he endorsed the ads or created the ads, the AI videos, it's genius marketing. And I think every campaign across this country has to reevaluate how they get that message out there using social media. You have to, after what Spencer Pratt did. Listen, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to give your perspective on this. Donna Bowling, Zack Peter, I'm very excited to have you back. I don't know what next topic I'm going to have, but I just know I love having both
regulars.
of you. You're regulars. You're regulars. It's amazing. Great to have you both here. And
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining the situation there.
Thanks, Jesse.